Welcome to our webinar series for professionals.
So welcome everyone to this August webinar, which is not about a lab test and it's not about a supplement either. It's about breathing and a breathing technique device. I met Christian Poulsen, who's going to do the presentation, who's the CEO of Airofit today. Met him, I guess in the spring. And I know quite a lot about breathing because I'm quite breathing challenged personally. So I've both been doing Wim Hof courses, and I'm also did it Kundalini yoga, breath of fire, and what have you, all that. And put it this way, Christian keeps poking me and provoking me to get together with him so he can fix my breathing still. So, and even now I'm challenged on my breathing because we're talking about breath work. So now I'm just completely open and honest to you all. Anyway, those of you who know me knows that I'm Anne-Catherine, co-founder of Nordic Laboratories and DNA Life, where it's mainly about lab tests and supplements, functional medicine, preventative healthcare, etc. So I just want to bring your attention to a webinar that we do next week on Thursday on organic acids. That's in Danish. So for those who panicked that we were going to do Danish now, we won't, but that's in Danish on the 22nd of August. But we'll do exactly the same webinar on the 12th of September in English with Umaru. And some of you also know Umaru. So that's in the pipeline, as well as many in-person events. And when we send out the recording from today, I'll share the link to our overview of the in-person events we have. We have one in Holland, in Utrecht, so close to Amsterdam. It's a DNA Live training. We have one in Orlando as well in the beginning of September. The one in Utrecht is on the 22nd, that weekend of September. And then we have, I think, around the 14th in Orlando. And then we have this big event, the Nordic event, where I really hope those, at least who is in Europe, will come and join us in Copenhagen, where Carrie Jones is coming. So those of you who's into hormones and hormone goddess, she's going to be there. And other really clever educators, and least of it all, you will be there and you will connect and you will join each other and group up and have a lovely time meeting each other. So yeah, enough about that. Christian, I'll pass on the stage to you. We are recording, so we will send out the recording later. If you have questions, put it in the chat or chat box, and I'll bring them up at the Q&A at the end. So now, Christian, I'll mute myself and you share your slides and you take over. But I'm right here, so.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining. It's really appreciated. I'm actually honored to be in such a forum where you have so many people who actually know so many things about human health and how you can make the world better. That's also my course here in life. That is what I want to do, but it's in a specific smaller range. That is the breathing part. My name is Christian. I'm CEO and founder of Airofit. Originally educated classical singer, conductor, and economist by training. Yes, that is why I have this, not the economist part, but the singing part was, that's why I have this very profound passion about breathing. Some of the things I will tell you today, you probably already know, but bear over with me because some of them needs to be in the right order of the storyline, so to speak. But you're more than welcome to ask questions, and I will do my very best to answer them. But should we just start? And one more thing before we start, please interact, and I will actually I will treat you as you were a real audience standing in front of me. So please interact when it's possible, right? Okay, let's go. So here I share my screen. Fine. Yeah, so today we are going to talk about the power breathing, Airofit respiratory muscle training, and the role in functional medicine. So let's see if we can make this work here. Here we go. So we start with a small exercise. So could you please join me in this little exercise? It's not hard. You should not do something very specific. I just want you to do one thing, and that is count your inhalations. So don't change anything in your breathing. Don't do anything and try to do it better or worse or whatever. Just breathe as you would do just 10 seconds before. Breathe the same way. Just count your inhalations. Okay, so we start now. So, you know, breathing is essential for all of us, and we rarely use a lot of time on thinking about how we do it. But right now, just count your inhalations. Don't change anything. Just count them as you and stay as you would normally be. Count your inhalations, and I will guide you through this. So breathing is, as I said, very essential, and we will talk a lot about it. I will use this for hopefully an eye-opener for you. But count your breathings, only your inhalations, and then I will ask you afterwards about that. And we are about ending it now, so stop now. All right. Thank you very much. So now I'll ask you how, and please use the hands up thing for your answers. Who has made more than 20 inhalations? Please raise your hand. Great. Okay. Who has made between 12 and 19 inhalations? Please raise your hand. Great. Okay. Who has made between 7 and 11 inhalations? Please raise your hand. Great. Thank you very much. And who has made 6 or less inhalations? Please raise your hand. Okay. Thank you very much. So it's not for me. I will not keep you accounted for what you said or what you actually did here. It's only an information for yourself, right? So what does it mean? Yes, if you have a lot of inhalations or breathings at a second, it's not so good. So if you have more than 20, there's some elements that you should think about. Maybe you're probably breathing high costal. Maybe you have stress, anxiety. Maybe your mouth breathing. And the same comes for the next group between 12 and 19. It's a pretty rapid speed, and it's the more normal, so to speak, is the lower end, and the best is that if you have 6 or less breath per minute Of course, not if you're just left the badminton court, but when you're sitting in a relaxed setting. So what is the reason for actually having this high amount of breath per minute? Yeah, these are some of them, but how did it actually come to this? And there's a lot of explanations. Some of those are actually what we've seen here, but we are all, I would say 99% of us, we are all natural born breathers. So does any of you have kids? Yeah, that was a rhetoric question. I guess you have. Quite some of you, or at least you have been seeing babies. And yeah, thank you. And how long can a baby cry without stopping, without having issues with the roll lips? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a year, maybe, right? So very long time. And there's only one reason for that. And that is because they are actually using their breathing capacity right. The roll lips and the breathing function is completely right. So that is why we can actually talk loud in the right way. And that's great. That's the right breathing. That's the right way to use your voice. But when you come to school, what happens then? The teacher say, "Oh, Simon, be silent, please." And then you are untaught the right way to breathe and talk. And then instead, you only breathe from here and out. And your support and your connection to the rest of your body disappears. And then you go out in the schoolyard, and then you need to scream to the other kids and say, "Hey, hey, hey!" And then it's from here, and you have completely dismantled yourself from the right breathing, and that has a lot of negative consequences for your breathing, but also for your way of speaking and singing, for instance, right? Okay, but let's look into the lungs. It's not a singing course today, and the lungs are getting hurt by a lot of different elements. Aging, for instance, illness. It can be COPD, it can be long COVID. There's a lot of things that can damage the lungs, but also incorrect breathing. And we actually have a solution for that. We cannot fix it all, but we can fix a lot of it. And that is the Airofit solution. That is a breathing trainer with different resistance in and out. And then it's connected to a breathing coach, where we have the leading breathing experts in the world in free diving, in sports science, in singing, in yogis, and yeah, you name it, we got it. So all these experts put in the knowledge into this system, and that is the way. Then you take a lung measure. You measure your vital capacity, how much air can you get in your lungs, how strong are your muscles in, and how strong are your muscles out. And then you decide a focus area, and then you do the training. You just follow the guidance from the virtual coach, and then you can actually see your progression. And this is vital capacity. You can see I've cheated a couple of times, then the values goes down. You can see the inspiratory pressure, also called MIP, and you can see the expiratory pressure, MIP. How strong your muscles are in and how strong your muscles are out. These are three very, very important measurements for the lung health and the condition of your lungs. All right. Then we, on top of that, have a remote monitoring unit for the doctors or healthcare professionals. Okay, that was the solution. But let's go on. Why is this so interesting? We have this space with respiratory muscle training. It's not a new space. It has been there at least 40, maybe even 50 years. Maybe I guess you all know the PEP fluid or similar devices, pieces of plastic with resistance. And you're having COPD, you go to your doctor tells you, oh, you need to train, fine, here's a PEP fluid, go home and train. You go home, you train, you don't know if you're doing it right, you cannot measure anything, basically you cannot see any progression, you train twice, then you put it under your pillow and forget about it. So the adherence is extremely low, 10% tops, maybe even 2%, very, very low. Our solution with the training system with connected guide and the doctor's module, we can see from our scientific research that the adherence is 90% or between 90 and 100% actually. So without adherence, no results. With adherence, great results. So that is the reason why you need to do this. Okay, so there are actually 3 benefits that can change your life when it comes to respiratory health, right? One of them is power. So the power of the muscles. The other one is operation. Do the breathing right. And then the third one is size. So the size of the lungs, or the accessible part of your lungs, so to speak. So all 3 elements are important. If you neglect one of them, you have an issue. If you're decent in all 3, it's fine, but you can improve them all. All right. So let's start with operation. That is better quality in your life through breathing right. So the largest breathing muscle is diaphragm, which is a completely hidden muscle. But the breathing must be, especially the inspiratory part, because the working direction of diaphragm is inwards. So this is the way it goes down, and then it relaxes like this, right? So diaphragm is the king in breathing. If you're not doing the breathing right, it's not just something that you say, okay, now you need to breathe right, because it's something you need to be conscious about. Okay, I'm not breathing right, and what is the right way to do the breathing? And then you need to train it. Like other skills, dancing, for instance. Okay, I know I'm not dancing well. Okay, this is the right way to dance. But if you're only watching, you will not be a great dancer, right? You need to go to the ballroom and dance. That is the same with breathing. You need to train it right. So in that way, you can have the right activation of the breathing muscles. And this is when we look at these 3 areas I showed you in the beginning, this part is the part where you actually have the fastest results of improvement. Here you can get results extremely fast if you actually are getting into the right modus operandi of actually do the breathing. All right. So what is right breathing? Yes, it's obviously deep diaphragmal breathing, but it's also nasal breathing. There's a physical state about using the nasal cavities for the training, and that is nitric oxide. When you inhale through your nose, that you get extra nitric oxide, and that nitric oxide is actually helping when you get the blood into your the oxygen into your bloodstream. That nitric oxide helps kicking the oxygen molecules off in the tissue where you need it to be. There's also the humidification and filtration of the air, obviously. And as I mentioned here before, that makes better oxygen exchange in your bloodstream. Got it. So there's also another very interesting part that I think you maybe you already know, maybe you know it a little unconsciously, but the mental part. And you know, there was when you're into acting, there's a lot of different methods, and Stanislavski method and things like that. But when television came into play, you could not use those old, very slow methods. You need to have something fast. Here's a script. You will film in 2 days. And if you should use the methods, it will take you 2 months to be ready. But here you had very short time. So they actually discovered that there's a close correlation between your feelings and your breathing pattern. So if you are in big distress, you have one way of breathing. That's well known, right? You can see that on people, how they breathe, and they are very sad or very happy or whatever they are. But you can actually revert that. So you can actually, by going into that breathing that connects to a feeling that you actually like to have, then you can actually induce that feeling into yourself. So if you are in a wrong state of breathing, then you will actually induce that unwanted feeling in yourself. But you can also use it for your advantage or your patient's advantage to actually find the right breathing, be relaxed, and then actually let go some of the worries and the things in your life that is disturbing you. I understand that, of course, this doesn't take away the initial causes of what could disturb you or your patients, but it can make you in a state where you can actually act on it. So instead of being a prisoner of the situation, you can actually become into a situation where you can actually act on it and do the things that is needed in order to get to a better place. Yeah, that was the mental part. Stress reduction, improve focus and attention, and better sleep. So that is, right breathing is so essential for you. Yeah, that was the two-way street I just talked about. All right, so that was operation. Now we're going to power, strength, strengthen your respiratory muscles. So if you have a low respiratory function, meaning if you are actually a COPD patient, or you're very old, or you're in other ways have an impaired breathing function, you will get the most benefit faster. So that is what you can see for all the signs. So the high and top athletes, they will get the marginal gain that can maybe lift them from being number 3 to number 1. That's great, that's fine. It takes time. But the most impaired, they can actually get really, really big benefits very fast because the muscles are so weak. So just a little training will actually have a massive impact. But you need to be consistent. As in, I think all elements of the life you live, if you're consistent, you will be successful. If you only do it 4 days, and then, okay, I'll do it next Monday again, you will not be successful. So you need to be consistent at least a month. Let's see some of the data. This is an example for, I need to tell you one thing. We have the largest database in the world of breathing. We have more than 30 million trainings, and we have more than 2 million lung tests. So we actually, we know a lot about how things are working or not working. This is actually Pia. I met her. It's not only numbers. It's not only graphs. It's a real person. And Pia is suffering from COPD, and she was in a state where she could not go take her mail from the mailbox. She could not go. She loved going in the garden. She could not go in the garden anymore. She could not clean her house. She was really impaired. The thing is, I was on the Danish television, and her husband actually saw that, and she bought an Airofit for her. And she could only train 1 minute at a time. We normally train 3 to 5 minutes. She could only train 1 minute, but she did that, and she did that for 6 weeks. And then she got, and she actually her vital capacity was extremely low, but she could actually improve it so much that she could actually get her life back. She improved her inspiratory pressure, her expiratory pressure, exhalation pressure, inhalation pressure, and her vital capacity, so she could actually do all the fun things again. And this is a quote from her: "My quality of life improved. Now I can play with my grandkids again," and so on. So that is extremely important for us, that we can actually, we don't, they do it. They do the work. It's not a big job. They do the work. You help them, and then they do it, and then they can change their life. I think it's very meaningful. So we can actually also see, this was just an example, right? But we can see from our data that when we look into the data pool of people saying, I'm suffering from COPD, we can see that the group as a group are actually improving. You can see there's some dips. That is because that was a couple of months where we sold a lot. So this is the whole group you're looking at. So when we have maybe double the amount of users, then we have a lot of new users that are dragging the average down. But when they begin to train, the numbers go up. So it's COPD, it's asthma, and it's just do the training, then you're better. So what is actually going on? We have conducted a clinical study of the Metropolitan University of Manchester, and let me just tell you one thing, because I met a lot of Danish doctors and also foreign doctors saying, "Oh yeah, but this respiratory muscles, you cannot train them because they are working every day, every hour, every minute, every second. They cannot be trained." Okay, so these guys, the Metropolitan University of Manchester, they had these patients. That was not actually patients. That was healthy individuals to train with Airofit for 6 weeks, and they used ultrasound to see, okay, how is it actually going with these muscles? You can, if it's biceps, right, you can see it, you can measure it, fine. But when it's inside the body, it's a different game, right? So they used ultrasound to actually measure the thickness of the muscles before and after the training, but also the range of motion. And here is the results. And I think you would think that is pretty interesting. So there's the exercise element. They started by biking all out, 6 minutes all out. And then after they had done this intervention 6 weeks later, they made a Viking intervention again, all out. They improved the power 7%, and that is massive because they're only training 5 to 10 minutes a day. But there's a lot of numbers here. But what I think is really interesting is the inspiratory muscle thickness diaphragm, right? It improved 30%. And I guess 99% of the males on this planet, if I said to them, train 5 minutes a day for 6 weeks, then you can improve your biceps 30%. I guess they would do it. A lot of the women as well, right? And that is just massive. But what is even more important is the range of motion of the diaphragm. So it increased 18%, meaning that actually diaphragm goes higher and deeper. And that is massive for the actually change of gas exchange in lungs, because if they can actually go higher and deeper, then the pump is working so much better. All right. So that is the bridge to the size part, the size of the lungs. And you know, the lungs, they're very plastic, right? But as you grow older, they grow stiffer. And if you live long enough, maybe you should live to be 130, but then you would eventually get COPD, right? Some of us doesn't become 130 and are lucky not to get a COPD, but that is the trend. Here we have data from our users. Up on that axis, you see liters, vital capacity, and the other axis is year. So all the users, when they come into the platform, they follow this curve, and that is not surprising, because what you can see is that you peak between 18 and 30. After your 30 years birthday, it goes down, just goes down year by year by year, and massively. Actually, when you're 60 years old, you have another big leap. You cannot see that clearly here, but this is the curve. It's not surprising. A lot of studies showing that is how it's going on. So doing this training 5 to 10 minutes a day can give us remarkable results, and that is what we can see from our data. So actually, the users who did train 5 to 10 minutes a day for 4 weeks, 5 minutes a day in your couch, training with Airofit, watching your favorite bike show or whatever you like to do, they increased 30% in vital capacity, meaning that their long age reversed 20 years. Show me anything else in the world who can do that. I haven't seen. I've been to a lot of events all over the world as a keynote speaker. I've seen so many things out there. I've not seen anyone who can prove this. Okay. So we also have one more thing about it, and that is that there's a very, very close correlation between your lung function and how many years you can expect to live from now, today. So if you there are made 2 very, very large studies with 5,000 and 1,000 users, and with 29 years. That is a very massive study, very long, very, very significant. And 20% of those with the poorest lung function were more than twice as likely to die than the rest of the population. That is massive. So there is a very clear correlation between poor lung function and mortality. All right. Yeah. Oh, I just did this right. So, oh yeah, I didn't say. Why is that? There's a lot of reasons for it. But one thing that if you have a car, right, and there's an element in your car that is saying click on, or whatever it say, would you go and fix it, or would you say no? It'll go over. It'll be better eventually, right? If you have the last way of looking into it, then you can be almost sure that something else is also going to be broken. This is why, and that's the same with the human body. So if you have something that is not working as it should, then that's your obligation to actually go and do something about it. I think it's your obligation. If you have a family that you that loves you, I think it's your obligation, right? Then you have to fix it, because otherwise you will take a big toll on your heart or other elements of your body, and that cannot be reversed. Yeah. Okay. Then we have long COVID. Maybe it's not such a big issue anymore, but COVID is not. But long COVID, we have a lot of patients out there that are not treated right because no one really knows what to do about it. And we have young people who are suffering from long COVID, also with the new milder versions. They don't have anything. Nobody gives them anything decent. Let me tell you the story of Mike. Mike, we didn't know them. During COVID, we saw a lot of people changing into our platform. We started with elite sports, right? We have Tour de France and World Championships in biking. Out of the 10 best, 7 of them are using Airofit, right? Because it usually increases their performance, and that's the same in all kinds of sports. But that's not your business, I guess. But then the weekend warriors took over. So we saw a lot of people interested in all kinds of sports. But suddenly we could see that 25% of our users were actually having a lung issue, COPD, asthma, long COVID, and other elements. And then we got the first video out of a lot of videos from Mike. He is a gentleman from UK, 55 years old. He made this video and set it on Facebook. We didn't know him before. And he said, I had a vital capacity of 0.6 liter after I got long COVID. So I thought about committing suicide because I was completely off. Then a friend of him gave him an Airofit. He could not train like the woman before. He could not train more than 1 minute a day. But he did that for 42 days, and then he got 3 liters and his life back. And I started out singing, but mainly in sports, because I have 3 elite swimmers' sons, and I just love the sports space. But I'm not really interested in sports anymore, because I can just see that we can do so much for so many people in so many areas. This is life-changing. The sport, okay, you win a gold or you win a silver, yeah, that's fine. But this is life-changing. Okay, so a university in Germany asked if they can make a study on long COVID patients, and of course they could. So they bought devices, and we helped them set up a doctor's module, and they could actually see that, and their conclusion is that this is the by far best solution for treating long COVID patients, because they don't need to go to the clinic. You can treat them remotely, and you can monitor them remotely, and you can actually see their progressing, both in the physical part, but also in the quality of life. Then we have this expert module. We don't actually offer it to to other people than researchers. But for you guys, if you have a few purchase through the Nordics, if you actually purchase 10 devices, we will for free in Airofit set you up with a doctor's module. Then you can talk to my scientific manager, and you can book a time slot with them, and he can help setting you up if you like that. With this expert module, you can monitor all your patients. That has an Airofit, of course. You can monitor the vital capacity, how is it going? You can monitor, are they actually doing the training? The quality of each training, how is it going? And that way you can keep them even closer to you and make sure that they actually do the training and get the benefit of it. All right. So we go to the questions, but I let this stand here. So if you want to book a meeting with Mike, you can do that. Yeah, I think that was it. So please, if you have any questions, you are more than welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. A few questions came up. One was more anatomically, I guess, which muscles, when you talk about expiration and inspiration, or exhalation, inhalation muscles, which
Yes. So we have okay, I go a little way here. So we have the most important part in breathing is diaphragm, right? It's here. That's the primary inhalation muscle. It goes like this. That's diaphragm. The exhalation muscles, diaphragm also in its return helps the exhalation, but the primary is the abdominal muscles here. So these are the primary breathing muscles. I jump my jacket. Sorry. So let's see. So then the secondary breathing muscles is the intercostal muscles. That is actually 3 layers of muscles that are between the ribs. They are the secondary muscles. They take the rib cage out there, but it can also take it backwards a little, but that is the secondary breathing muscles. And then we have the tertiary breathing muscles. That is up here. I don't suggest you use it in normal breathing, but actually the reason why I am training with Airofit, I've done a lot of sports previously. I do a little now, but it's only for the fun of it. I'm not competing in anything anymore. But the reason why I am doing Airofit training is because that prevents me from snoring. So when I actually, you saw I have cheated. So when I cheat a week or so, I can snore again. And then my wife gives me the elbow and say, have you forgot training Airofit? Yes. Then I train 4 days, and then I'm welcome in the bedroom again. Yeah.
Super. So, and then the snoring bit I thought was quite interesting, because don't we all have patients who snore and then thereby have a worse sleep quality, and also often their partner's sleep quality is impacted. Can you just explain, because I know you have the explanation as to why some people snore?
Yeah. So there are several elements in it. Usually, younger people are less snoring than older people, right? And primary, the airways here are supported by the tertiary breathing muscles, right? And when you're young, they're just stand like this. But when you get old, they're getting a little more sloppy. And when they do that, that promotes the snoring, but also the soft palate is also, there's a muscle holding that. So doing that training actually strengthens these muscles. So you can actually hold your airways, or they hold it themselves instead of like that. So that is the main part of actually snoring. Then of course, if you have too much body fat, especially around the neck, that also pushes the airways. But it still helps to train the muscles that can hold the airways open. So that's long story short.
Super. So then you might want to add a few words to, because we also see patients who sleeps with CPAP.
Yeah. I have never understood the wisdom of CPAP machines, to be honest. My mother had one. I said, I'm going to sleep with that one. Yeah, I tried it. Can you actually sleep with it? No, yeah. It's hilarious. Do some training. Do some training of your airways. Maybe lose 5 kilos, but CPAP, that just, it ruins your life. Can you imagine sleeping with that connected to a machine, and you turn around and the machine falls from I would never be able to sleep with it. Of course, maybe it helps someone. I don't know them, but I know that if you actually are doing something good for yourself, like training your body, the most essential part of your body. Yeah.
So then I can't remember who it was that asked, but it's 1640. I put down the time where they. So the comparison of a 50-minute brisk walk 5 days a week versus using 5 minutes of Airofit 5 days a week, more specifically in a 60-year-old male who doesn't do exercise. I guess the walking in general does some really good things for the body, but if we talk more
It does.
specifically around the breathing and the lungs and the lung capacity.
Yeah. So respiratory muscle training is, you can compare it to a dumbbell for your breathing capacity. And does it mean that you should not do exercise for the rest of your body? No, of course not. Of course you should. Of course you should walk, or whatever you do. You should of course do that. Some people are impaired and cannot actually really get started doing the exercise because they are so troubled, right? So we have seen that some people use the respiratory muscle training because they can sit in the couch and start by doing that, and then that can be that can propel them up to actually begin to do the walking, because then they're not so troubled in their walking. I would of course recommend that you do both, but that could be a way to start. That would be my recommendation if you have an issue. Do both.
But don't stop walking as well.
No, you do both, and it's not. So if you do the walking, that's fine. Keep on doing that. But if you're sitting in your couch 5 minutes sometime in the daytime, or 3 minutes, do 5 minutes or 3 minutes Airofit training, you will see a massive exchange, a massive effect on it, and then it will make your walking or other exercise more easy, more fun.
So then we got some more specific questions in regards to purchasing the Airofit. So you buy the device, but then you download this app.
Yes.
And then you have to subscribe to the training where you get a guide, not a personal guide, but you get guided on what type of exercises you should do if you are inhalating or exhaling, where you put the pressure, etc.
Okay. Yeah. Let me turn that fast. So you buy the device, and there's a freemium app, and you don't need anything more. But there's only two specific. There are two general programs. You have access to all. We have 17 different training modalities. You can train them individually if you like, but you can also follow one of those two programs that are there in the freemium app. That's a sport and that's a wellness thing. But if you want to upgrade to the premium app, then you can have I think it's 16 different kind of sports. You can have biking, you can have racket sports, you can have swimming, whatever, and that's the same in the wellness. That you have wellness, but you can also have if you have the subscription, you can have snoring, you can have stress, you can have I think maybe 8 or 10 different kind of elements. So you can do it, but it's not necessary.
And what about warranty when
2-year warranty.
Good. Then Connor, you had some questions. It's everyone is muted, and then I put up the questions and answer, and I don't answer at the end. That's the structure, and it always has been since we started these webinars. So, but Connor Saunders is asking more specifically as to which muscles. So he's saying you gave percent for the growth in the expiratory and the inspiratory muscles, but what
Yes.
grew? Can you answer that or?
Yeah. Which one it was? That was diaphragm, and that was diaphragm as the inspiratory muscles, and abdominal the abdominals as the expiratory muscles, and that was 30% increase in the thickness of diaphragm and 25% on the abdominal muscles. And you can see that then your abdominal muscles are actually becoming more prominent because they're getting bigger.
So then one is asking if you have any experience with MS, multiple sclerosis patients, and the breathing, if you have any cases with that.
You know, I'm not a doctor, right? We have supported the Novo Nordic multiple sclerosis biking team, and they have very good results training with it, but we haven't made any studies about it. So I cannot say, yeah, you will increase like this and this and that. We haven't made these studies, but we have the feedback from them saying that it's helping them. So yeah, I will not go into and promise you anything there, right?
Yeah, but and is that in the actual symptoms of their like attacks or their nerve damages after attacks, etc., or is it just because their technique becomes better and they it's just general more well-being? Or
yeah, when we go into that such a specific space, then I need to have my scientific manager, because he knows all the studies about it, and he could probably give a little more precise answer on that. So I'm afraid I'm not able to do that, but you can of course book a meeting with Mike, and if you warning and beforehand, then he can may be up to date on that. I think that would be my most
So Christian, I just want you to, if you are okay sharing that story because you told me about this patient who had to have open heart surgery, I think it
Oh yeah.
was.
Yes. Yeah, we have some we have some doctors that have become pretty big fans of Airofit. The first one, he's a doctor in a heart doctor, and the second one, he's a professor and doctor in GERD. The first one is I don't know, 60. The other one is 76. So the second one goes to the first one because he's a heart surgeon, and I'm going to have a triple bypass operation. Doctor one said, yeah, that's not so good. You will not survive. You need to train Airofit 3 months before you do it because your system is clearly not strong enough to survive this this operation. Professor 2 goes home, train 3 months, comes to the hospital, is getting his surgery instead of a 6-hour operation, which they have expected. No, first they said okay. They looked at his heart. Then it was too big. I think it's very common in that situation, but it has been shrinked 20%, and that was pretty good news. Then instead of 6 hours operation, it was 3 hours, and instead of 6 days expected and at intensive care, it was 1 day. And he survived, and we haven't paid him a dime. He is saying also on video, without Airofit, I wouldn't have survived. And I think there's a lot of operations actually in the Netherlands, even for knee surgeries. They say if your respiratory muscles are not at the right level, we will not operate you. You need to train it because then we have a much faster recovery. So I think there's some interesting things here.
So then Connor is just asking in regards to the different software fees, etc. So if you said to our group, so that's if you buy the machine or the device through Nordic VMS. If there's one practitioner buy 10, then then you get that research module, and you get that. Does that have a cost, or?
Normally you cannot get it. We will provide it to you.
And it has a cost, or?
Then we will provide it to you for free.
Okay, super cool.
Yeah.
So and then I guess like so then the software
the expert module, as we call it, right? The expert or doctor's module. Yes, we will provide it to you.
Okay, super. Good. Well, I think that's it for now. Thank you, Christian, for teaching us about this and breathing and demonstrating cases as to how important this is. And clearly you can see that, I mean, Christian is pretty humble, I would say, because he keeps name dropping. Oh yeah, and then Novo Nordisk, who's supporting the MS cycling team. Oh, we are supporting them, and so there's a lot behind what Christian is presenting here. It's in VMS, your practitioner portal, so you can log in there and you can prescribe it to your patients as if it was a supplement. So it's easy for them to get hold of it, but it's a good idea for you just to check out the Airofit app so that you have and some ideas on the prices, or if you just at least start on the basic training with your patients, or rather because they do the work, you're not the one who's doing it for them. So thank you very much, Christian, for your time and your presentation. To you all out there, thank you very much for signing in, even though it was a little bit of a different topic. But I mean, aren't we just all hungry for knowledge when it comes to anything that can improve health? So to you all out there, have a lovely evening, rest of the day. And hopefully I'll see you at one of our next webinars or in person at one of our events. Take care, all of you. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
If you do not already have an account with us, please contact our team and we will assist you. If you found this webinar helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel.